going on, everybody? I'm back with another YouTube video. In today's video, guys, we're going to be doing round 1 of the horror slasher killer matchups. And in round 1, it is going to be Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise versus Pinhead from the Hellraiser franchise. But first, of course, I do have a lot of announcements and explanation to do. As far as quick announcements to go, it's as usual. Just stay tuned for the future content. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more rounds coming in this series. Join the Discord, link will always be in the description of every video for more information, useful information than you just get in the community post. But if you don't want to join the Discord, then you'll get as much information as you really need in the community post to stay up to date. So, other than that, I do have a lot of explaining to do about this series, of course. So, I don't even know where to begin. All I can say is that, well, there's a lot to say, so I'm not just going to say all I can say. There's a lot to say, though. So, how is this all going to work? There's going to be 10 rounds, 10 very popular horror slasher killers. I'm not going to name them all, quite a few. I'm probably going to have my mind stuck on one of them because I forget things a lot. But there's going to be 10 killers, 10 rounds. It's going to be set up in my own unique bracket system, and it's set up in a way so that every killer kind of has a fair shot at the killer that they're going up against. And the bracket is kind of divided, it's already divided almost into, two different types of horror slasher killers. The slasher killers that have, obvious supernatural powers, and are the more powerful type, and the less powerful are going to be, in the other section. So, I'm not going to be putting up Freddy Krueger against Chucky, for example, and I'm not going to be doing... Because if I were to do every possible combination for these 10 killers, I could have, an endless amount of videos, and I'd be going on forever. So, and if it was Freddy Krueger versus Chucky, I think we can all think off the top of our head who would win. It would be fairly obvious. So, I did this in a way so that it's not super obvious. It's very debatable who could win, and every killer has their fair shot, basically. And also, if a killer in the kind of lower bracket that's already set up, so let's say, for example, I can already tell you this right now, let's say Leatherface beats Jason Voorhees, because Jason Voorhees is going to be kind of in the lower bracket. If Leatherface beats Jason Voorhees, and then he beats another killer after that, determined by another round, then he can advance to the top bracket and go against one of the better killers. Which would, how do you want to say it? It would predetermine if the killer is even capable of going against an already what we know is a very powerful killer. So, it's set up in a way that I know is unique and somewhat confusing, but it's to give every killer a fair shot, but also still allow for some competition to be here, for killers to advance to a higher bracket to see if they can go against more powerful killers. But I'm not doing an endless amount of combinations like I did at the beginning of my channel. It's not going to go like that, because then there would be just too many, useless, unnecessary videos where you guys already know who would win. But I will tell you, after 5 years of this and a lot more knowledge, I'm very excited to be doing this again for just 10 videos. I think this is going to be really fun. And also, you guys saw the intro. Tell me in the comment section down below what you thought about that. And... what else do I need to explain? Oh, yes. So in this video, how is the winner going to be determined? So there's actually going to be 3 main attributes. There is going to be weapon/power utility. So, are they comfortable with working with a wide variety of weapons, or do they have a wide variety of weapons already at their grasp? Durability, obviously I think you guys can already understand that, how well they are able to take hits, and hand-to-hand combat, how well they are able to fight without any weapons, assuming that they're in a very close quarters fight where they can't really use their other weapons. And then there's also going to be a 5 bonus points if they are at their home field, and this is only going to really apply to certain, some of these rounds. It's really only going to apply to the first 2 rounds, Pinhead and Freddy Krueger, and Candyman and Pennywise. But I will tell you, before we get on to this, it is going to be a huge difference maker, the home field advantage, and it's going to be based on which killer would likely be in the other killer's realm. Would Freddy Krueger more likely be in in the real world, or would Pinhead more likely be in the dream world? That's all going to be determined in this video, and it's going to be a huge difference maker. I feel like I'm missing a few things. Let me think here. Just one more thing, and I want to discuss this before we do any of these rounds, and we start talking about Pinhead versus Freddy Krueger. Immortality. I'm sure that's a big question a lot of you are asking. Well, what if the killer's immortal? Then, why do you even have to make these videos, for example? Immortality doesn't necessarily mean that a killer is incapable of dying. Or incapable of being killed, I should say. It just means that they're incapable of dying in a sense that they just die from natural causes. Immortality just means that somebody can live forever without dying from natural causes, assuming that there's no interference where somebody kills them. That's a very common misconception that people have. Don't get me wrong, I thought that for the longest time. In my beginning videos, I was always very cocky with certain thinking certain killers were immortal and being biased towards certain killers because I liked them a lot more. This is not going to include any bias, and I just wanted to clear that very common misconception that if someone's immortal, then they cannot be killed. It just means that they cannot die from natural causes. So, immortality is pretty much irrelevant. Every killer that I put in this list can be killed in some way. Of course, there are a lot of them that are immortal and are just not human, obviously. They do not die from natural causes. They're not human. They're a completely different species in a sense. So I understand that, and I wanted to just get that out of the way real quick. But I think that's all I have to discuss. Once the winner is determined, I will tell you what round they will advance to and where the other killer will go to. I'll discuss all of that once the winner of this round is determined. So let's get on to the battle. So starting off with Freddy Krueger's attributes, weapon/power utility. This really depends on if Freddy Krueger is in the dream world or not, and you will see how much of an effect this will play on once we discuss the home field advantage, which killer will likely be in the other person's realm towards the ending of discussing all these attributes. But let's just assume that he is in the dream world. He gets an easy 10 out of 10. He has an endless amount of powers. He can basically do anything that he wants to in the dream world. It's an easy 10 out of 10. If he's not in the dream world, then I'm going to give him a... Let's see here. I think with these ones where I'm really unsure, I'm just going to give him a 5 out of 10 if he's not in the dream world. Durability. Based on... Freddy Krueger is very lucky because he is one of the two killers that has already gone against another killer in a movie. So we already have a lot of additional knowledge about Freddy Krueger when it comes to durability and hand-to-hand combat. And as far as that goes, durability, 9 out of 10. He did an outstanding job against Jason towards the ending of the movie and was able to withstand several limbs being cut off by Jason, including his own head. That does not mean he cannot be killed. I mean, if you stabbed him directly in the head, it probably would have done the job. But if you just cut off his limbs, it's not going to do much. So durability, 9 out of 10. I would give him a 9 out of 10 on durability. Hand-to-hand combat, for going against one of the best hand-to-hand combat killers, which is Jason Voorhees, 8 out of 10. Overall, he will get a 10 out of 10 for weapon/power utility, assuming he's in the dream world. A 9 out of 10 for durability, and 8 out of 10 for hand-to-hand combat. So, if he's in the dream world, let me calculate that real quick. If he is in the dream world, he gets a total of 32 points. If he is not in the dream world, then he gets 22 points. And of course, some of you might be asking that it's all determined because it was 32 points because he also gets the 5 additional points from the home field advantage. So this is going to, obviously that's a 10-point difference. That's going to be a huge difference maker towards the ending of this video when I discuss the whole home field and which killer is more likely to fight in which realm or whatever. So 22 points if not in the dream world, which is still a pretty good score, don't get me wrong. and 32 points if he is in the Dream World. So let's talk about Pinhead's attributes. So weapon slash power utility, 8 out of 10, easy. The only reason I'm giving him an 8 out of 10 is because all he really has is hooks and chains. Unlike Freddy Krueger, where he has an unlimited amount of ability to manipulate whatever weapon he wants to choose. Whereas Pinhead is limited to only really one weapon, which is just a hook and chain. But he can do anything with those hooks and chains. So 8 out of 10 there. Durability and hand-to-hand combat are two easy ones, but also hard to like really determine. I'm just gonna give him a 5 out of 10 for both of those, just because we've never really seen Pinhead, unlike Freddy Krueger, go against somebody that is just as powerful as him, or we've never seen him in a scenario where he's taken significant damage or had to fight somebody one-on-one. Like, you never really see Pinhead just straight up punch somebody. So hand-to-hand combat and durability, I'm just gonna give him a 5 on both of those, just because of a lack of information. If there's a lack of information for somebody's attribute, then I'm just going to automatically give them a 5 out of 10. I think that's fair. Tell me if you think that's fair in the comment section down below. But that means that if by the way, his realm is going to be basically just Earth, because you can't really fight Pinhead in hell necessarily, unless he pulls you into hell. So in this scenario, we're just gonna have Pinhead. If he does have a home field advantage, it will be at Earth. And if he doesn't have a home field advantage, then that will mean that he is in the Dream World. So if he is in the Dream World, then he only gets 18 points. If he is not in the Dream World, then he gets 23 points. So this will be a 1-point difference either way, assuming which killer wins. So, like I said, this is going to be the difference maker here. Where are they going to fight? How is this going to happen? So from what I've seen, obviously the only way that you can summon, first of all, Freddy Krueger, is if he attacks you in your sleep. The only way you can summon Pinhead is if you tamper with the Lament configuration. So, which way is it more likely to play out? As far as I'm concerned, and as far as I can see from a little bit of research, Pinhead never sleeps. So that means that Freddy Krueger can never interrupt him in his sleep, in which he has an advantage because he is in the Dream World. So the more likely way that this is going to play out is that Freddy Krueger is going to somehow pull himself out of the Dream World so that he can tamper with the Lament configuration, summon Pinhead, in which Pinhead would get the 1-point difference win because he has the home field advantage for being in the regular realm, Earth, whatever you want to call it. So overall, based on a realistic scenario, Pinhead wins, but if it was in Freddy Krueger's Dream World, then I think Freddy Krueger would get the upper edge. But once again, it's by 1 point, and it's all determined on where they fight. I think more realistically, though, it is going to be Freddy Krueger in the real world fighting with Pinhead in the real world. So very, very close matchup. I told you guys that was going to be the difference maker. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm wrong on something. Tell me about it in the comment section down below. I think realistically, though, Pinhead gets the upper edge, assuming they are in the real world. That is it for round 1. Let me tell you real quick. Let me check real quick, and then I'm going to tell you where Pinhead will be advancing to. But Freddy Krueger, I can tell you that because it's really easy to remember off the top of my head. Freddy Krueger will not be appearing in any later rounds. He gets his 1 round with Pinhead, and that's only really because if for any other killer, the only way they're going to fight with Freddy Krueger realistically is going to be in the Dream World, in which he has an insane upper edge with obviously 32 points. So that's pretty much why Freddy Krueger will not be returning for any other rounds, but a nice matchup with Pinhead, I would agree. And Pinhead will be advancing, it looks like, to round 5. And he will be going up against the winner of round 2, which will be the next video, and that will be either Candyman or Pennywise. So that's going to be a really good matchup. Can't wait to see that there. I'm sure you guys are pretty excited for that too. So yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Who do you think would win, Pinhead or Freddy Krueger? Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd really like to have some discussion about that too. So yeah, that is it for the video. Make sure you stay tuned for the future content. Join the Discord. Link will always be in the description of every video. Read the community post that you can stay up to date with any potential future changes. And I think that's all the announcements that I have to make. So I'm really, really excited. We got this series finally kicked off. And I'm really excited to continue down this series. I think it's going to be lots of fun. So tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Other than that, like and subscribe, guys. And I'll see you next time.